everyone, Gadiel Ben Shomer here, bringing you War Debrief number 4, Joy in Warfare. You know, when we think of war and we think of warfare, we get all deadpan serious and stoic, and we throw in a little primal aggression there for good measure. However, it's not healthy to get stuck in that emotional form of tunnel vision. When Hashem showed me what was coming, this civil war, if you will, this spiritual civil war, I really girded up my soul and prepared myself for battle, and I even put like an MMA style profile picture on my Facebook. I had my talit over my head, I had my mixed martial arts gloves on, I had my teeth guard in, and I just had a mean look on my face. And so the first couple weeks at the announcement of the coming civil war, my Facebook page was really geared towards that. And then a couple weeks into it, I felt the Lord just kind of say, okay, dial it back a bit. Dial it back a bit. And he started to show me about love and to reveal how love is just as important a weapon in spiritual warfare than rebuking and binding and all this kind of stuff. So I, put on a more typical Facebook picture. And then this past week, I felt the Lord saying, okay, dial it back a little bit more. It's perfectly okay to love Yeshua, to keep Torah, and to be silly. So I found myself texting my friends just really stupid and silly things. I started taking silly pictures of myself with my tablet and things like that, and just being funny. And then me and my daughter's been joking around, playing pranks and practical jokes on each other, and things like this. And it's important to stay lighthearted even in the midst of warfare, and sometimes carry on a business as usual type of thing. I thought Christians were bad, but Messianics and Netzarim are way worse in the fact that they take themselves way too seriously. I even remember a phase I went through in my Torah walk where I started looking and talking and being all orthodox. To be perfectly honest with you, I was miserable. I was nothing but a wet shirt and a stick in the mud, and I'm sure I made everybody around me sourpusses in the process too. And I don't have any proof for this, but when I read the gospel accounts, sometimes I imagine Yeshua in the boat with Peter and with the other disciples, and maybe when Peter is bending over, because you know how serious Peter could get, how aggressive and Peter could get. I could just imagine him bending over the edge of the boat trying to pull in the net, and Yeshua just goes, whoops, and tosses him overboard to the great amusement and laughter of everybody in the boat. Like I said, I can't prove that, but I like to imagine that. And I don't know if anybody's ever seen the painting called The Laughing Jesus, but that's such a beautiful picture, and it's a picture of Messiah that's not often seen. Usually in the time of warfare, people want to have that fiery-eyed, tongue made into a sword, fiery picture of Yeshua of Revelation. And people see that way too much. It's okay to be silly, it's okay to be funny, lighten up. Love and laughter, as I said, is just as important and powerful in warfare as the aspects of binding and rebuking and things of this nature. Just think of these scriptures. Nehemiah 8:10c, for the joy of the Lord is your strength. Psalm 5:11, but all those that put their trust in thee, let them ever shout for joy, because thou defendest them. Let them also that love thy name be joyful in thee. Psalm 16:11, thou wilt show me the path of life, and in thy presence is the fullness of joy, and at thy right hand are pleasures forevermore. And in John 10:10, the Messiah himself says, I've come that you might have life, and that you might have it more abundantly. And then there's tons of scriptures in the books of John and Acts and Peter that talks about having the fullness of joy, being full of joy. The preacher said in Ecclesiastes 3:4 that there's a time to weep, a time to laugh, a time to mourn, and a time to dance. Even in the midst of warfare, there's time for dancing. And who can forget the old saying that laughter is the best medicine, right? Sometimes I think we don't have a proper view of warfare and what it is to be at war, that we can have permission to be silly and humorous even in the midst of war. Think of the Vikings, for example. We often picture Vikings as aggressive and just slaughtering everybody. But you know what their idea of heaven is? Is that when a warrior dies, he goes to Valhalla, where he gets to fight his brothers all day long and slaughter his brothers all day long, and at the end of the day, everybody's resurrected. They go to the great hall and have a big feast and laugh and brag about their exploits during the day. That's their picture of heaven, and it shows you that they had a joy in the midst of battle, a joy in warfare. Think of the fictitious Klingons of the Star Trek universe. Their messiah, Kahless, preached about the importance of joy in the heart of a Klingon warrior. I think we can learn something from that. So why is joy and silliness so important in the aspect of war? Because anger is usually the motivation for war, and it tends to cloud the mind and warp judgment and causes us to make hasty and bad choices in the midst of war. So even in war, we can't let go of love, laughter, and joy. So remember, folks, in the midst of this civil war, in the midst of warfare, when you're swinging your sword, don't forget to do it in love and in joy. And take time to plant your sword in the ground and do the hokey pokey as you turn yourself around, because that's what it's all about. And have a good belly laugh. Catch you later. Love you guys. Shalom and Shavua Tov.